everyone. Welcome to the very first Coach to Coach podcast. I'm Sophie, and this is a podcast series where I will talk to like-minded coaches who have different approaches in their coaching methods. I'm also very happy to tell you that this is a very first episode of the podcast series and unique in a way that I have never heard a similar conversation between two coaches. During our conversation now with Nikki, you will hear different opinions about why coaching is great for you. Actually, this is an essential that you will learn, understand, and grow yourself, as well as build better connection with your inner self as well. If you follow me, you know also that I am so passionate about that coaching experience is very important, at least one in everyone's lifetime. But let's start the podcast with Nikki, who's been a coach for years and a very great friend of mine as well. Hi, Nikki. How are you?
Hi, Sophie. I'm good. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Perfect. And first thing first, just introduce yourself a little bit more. What is your focus? And why coaching really?
So my name is Nicolette Vague. I'm an intuitive mindset coach and I specialize in trauma healing. And why coaching? Well, because everything else failed for me. I personally enjoy this journey for my own development, and I totally and utterly fell in love with the work itself and the results that I have felt and the ripple effect that it had into my life.
Mm-hmm.
Not just affected me. I'm a mother of two children. I've got two teenage sons. I'm a wife. I struggled with my own things. So it's really helped me to understand my past, my present, and to be able to build a better future, not just for myself, for those who are around me as well.
Great. Very interesting. And what was actually the coaching experience of yours? Because as you said, you went through on this experience and therefore you started to be a coach. So I'm very excited and interested to learn more about this.
Yes, I mean, Sophie, as you probably know, I am writing a book about my story, which will delve more and more into this story, but just something in a nutshell so you understand. I come from a dysfunctional family as my background. I grew up with alcoholics around me. Both of my parents had mental health problems.
Mm-hmm.
I myself struggled throughout my teenage years, my early 20s as well. I have hit rock bottom 11 years ago.
Okay.
I found myself in a place that wasn't very pretty. I no longer wanted to be here.
Oh.
But luckily, I have met a really great friend who had introduced me to self-healing, which was a brand new topic to me.
Uh-huh.
And I've never ever, there was all faff. There was a bit woo-woo. I was like, no, if you struggle, you don't talk about it, because if you talk about it, you're called crazy. And if you're called crazy, then you have to go see someone. So it was a whole stigma around mental health. And I really, really struggled. And as I said, I was in my 20s, like I was 27 and I had the two children. So it was really difficult to just fulfill my daily tasks as a mum. I wasn't coping. And this, she introduced me to a book, which I would love to mention.
Yes,
if that's okay.
of course.
Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. Okay. And that is, I still to the day today, I put it down, hands down, that book has changed my life. That was the very, very first step onto self-healing and discovering why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And the first time ever in my life, I realized if I could just remove self-blame,
yes,
I would feel a million times better already with just that. So obviously that's when it all began. And I was a bit inconsistent up until nearly 5 years ago now, when I sadly lost my father. But, with every rain, there is a rainbow, as I say. And I genuinely believe that, losing my dad has helped me really utterly and brutally and honestly just go there to places I haven't visited before, like internally.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when I literally delved into my self-healing. So I started working with a psychotherapist.
Yes.
Who had a very holistic approach. So not like your usual, here is a prescription, see you later. Although I'm not against it. I don't judge people for it. But I knew that was not the path I wanted to go down on.
Yeah.
So, and then I met a really great coach who has actually helped me massively, massively with my mindset. And that is when I realized it was all mind over matter.
Yes.
It's really as simple as that. But until someone teaches your brain to understand things differently, to see things differently, to actually process things in a healthier way, more of like an adult rather than the wounded child,
Yeah.
you know, when maybe a trauma happened to you when you were 5 and you created that response. And that's basically when my journey began into coaching. And then I fell in love with it so much that I said, you know what, this is my calling. I want to help people to achieve what I've achieved.
Yes, I think so. Louise Hale is a queen of coaching. I think so. All the coaches read her book at least a couple of times. This is the holy grail, I would say, of coaching. She was brilliant, and her legacy, you know, still helps so many people. And
100%.
coaches uses her methods and her path as well. So this is great. And what you just said that you went to the mental health practitioner, and after that, also you went to a coach. I totally believe that coaching is more like a prevention, and you don't need to actually go to mental health practitioner and treat something which dysfunctioning. It's more like you realize, you listen to your body and mind that, something is not good. What can I do for it? And it's just great that I think so. That's why you are passionate as well about coaching, because you went through this journey and you know how benefit this is for everyone. But I would like to know why intuitive coaching and why intuitive mindset coaching is your niche.
Well, intuitive is who I am. Mindset is what I believe it's needed for healing. And trauma healing is actually my specialty, because without healing parts of you that are hurting, you're not going to move on into a healthier, better version of yourself.
True.
I have this saying, and it become my mantra, that what angers you controls you, owns you. And as long as something that happened in the past and you can't let go of it, you're not allowing it to belong to where it's belonging. Yeah.
Yeah.
So by you keep bringing up the past, even though you say, I dealt with it. But every conversation, oh yeah, when that person said that, it really upset me. That is a sign there that you haven't dealt with it.
Yeah.
That in itself. So intuitive and mindset. So I think it's kind of like self-explanatory. But when I'm doing like in a session with people, you know, when I'm coaching them, I cannot think and be present in a session with a client. I can only do that if I allow and tune into my intuition to guide me through a session. So if you say something to me and I have this really, really, really strong, like nudge in my belly, I am going to interrupt you respectfully and say, hold on a moment, you said something there. Can I please just check on that? When you said that, what did you mean by that?
Oh, nice.
Or when you said that, this is what's come up. Is that how you wanted it to come across as? And then usually my clients go, oh my goodness, I have never even realized. But now you say, like you brought it up. I call myself like I'm a mirror to your blind spots. Because when you stand in front of a mirror, you see what you see.
Yes, the aha moment, right?
Exactly.
This is how you bring the aha moment from your client.
Your golden nuggets, those light bulb moments. Because look, I am not aiming to be your friend during a session. You've got many friends. You're not paying me to do that. You're paying me to help you, to get you from A till B. And the only way I can help you get there is if I can fully trust my own intuition. If I can't trust my intuition, how can I expect my client to trust me?
Yeah, of course.
So the work needed to be done on myself first before I could call myself an intuitive mindset coach. Right?
Yes.
And then during that work, which never, full well, the work is never ending, because new level, new devil, as I call that, it's like peeling an onion.
Yeah.
The closer you get to the sweet spot, the more work needs to be done. But it's a beautiful work. It doesn't have to be depressive. It doesn't have to be daunting. It doesn't have to make you feel like you don't want to get out of bed. In actual fact, once you actually crack through the hard layers and you start to allow yourself to feel those emotions, boy, the transformation, it's amazing. Like you see the energy in clients. I'm like, my God, who were you last week and who are you this week? Like, I love it.
You even saw me, right?
Yes.
The big change.
Yes.
And it was just fantastic because you knew me,
100%.
very deeply. And when someone tells me that, hey, Sophie, you are in a much more better place, this is the best feedback. And just one thing, what you mentioned, that people go to you and tell you that I dealt with it. I think it's a big difference between dealing with something and understanding something and being okay with it. So yes, dealing with something, please, people, it's just a temporary solution that you acknowledge that this happened, but it doesn't mean you healed from it. Yes.
I actually question my clients: is dealing or healing?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because the two is not the same.
Yes.
Dealing with something means it's constantly in your mind and you are dealing with it because you still have to work with it. Once you heal something, you no longer deal with it because it's done.
Yes.
You moved on. It doesn't mean that it never happened. It just means that whatever happened no longer has the power over you.
Yes, exactly. I can't agree with you more. But we talk about, you are intuitive coach, mindset coach, but I just would like the audience to understand or get a little essence how the coaching session is with you.
So in a nutshell, like most of my clients have come from word of mouth, because once you've been through the type of work that I can offer, a type of space I can facilitate for the type of healing that you can take as a client, it is deep, it is intimate, it is trusting.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot work with people who cannot surrender. That's all I ask of you when you come in. You have an open mind and an open heart.
Yeah.
To receiving. That's it.
Yeah.
And I also don't make people, like some coaches are almost persuading clients to work with them. I can't do that, because if you're not on that level, if you're not ready to do the work that I know is going to make such a difference in your life, but I also know it's going to require everything you have.
Yes.
To give, to put into that effort. If you're not ready, this is not going to work. And I had an experience recently where a client of mine had recommended someone to come, and it was a relative of theirs. And although, I would never mention names, I can tell you this much, but I had that feeling all along that although we were making progress, it wasn't quite right, because the person who I was helping wasn't seeking my help.
Yes.
It was a relative who wanted them to help. Now, this is also my other mantra that I tell my clients: you can only take the horse to the water, but the horse must decide to drink or drown. It's up to them.
100%.
So I could say to you, Sophie, hey, I met this great coach. You want to come and work with them because I think it would be really great for where you are in your life. But then it's up to you to make that call. So first of all, with me, so like I said, most of my clients will come from word of mouth, which amazing, because I don't need to persuade anyone anymore. Because if you have been talking about me after working with me, I know that the people who are coming to me, they know what type, they have a feeling for what we're going to be doing,
Yes.
But if this was a client, we would have a consultation first, just to make sure we are the right fit, because
build a rapport
you have to get on with me, and I have to get on with you for 8 weeks with my program, right? But after that, I usually, actually, my consultations turn into like a 90-minute session. So you have a half an hour consultation, a 60-minute session initially.
Nice. Yeah.
Because when people start to open up, and very quickly I can build rapport with people, they then naturally fall into like a session of like, oh, okay, well, this is what's happening today.
Yeah.
But then when we actually do the 8 weeks, we have a main goal in focus. Perfect. So you tell me what you want to achieve, where you are today, where do you want to go? Don't worry about how you're going to get there. That's not for now to know.
Yes.
So it's one of the things that clients get always so excited about. It's like, oh, let's run. And I'm like, no. Let's not that. Let's one step at a time, here and the now, what we're going to do today to get you closer to the goal. But that goal has to be spoken out loud. And this is why my 90-minute initial session is very important, because in that session, you might come in with something and I might ask that, you wasn't even ready for that question, and you go, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And you never said that before. Actually, one of my clients who is in her like mid-40s, never been able to tell anyone. If you said to her, what do you want to drink? Oh, I don't mind, I'm easy. What do you want to eat? I don't mind, I'm easy.
Oh, undecided.
And during our 90-minute session, the initial one, I said to her, like, what do you want? And she said it out loud, literally like a knee-jerk reaction, like a reflex. And she said, do you know what, Nikki? This was the very first time in my whole life that someone had asked me, what do I want? And I could actually answer.
Perfect.
Because when you are in that place with someone where you trust, there is no judgment.
Yeah.
Of course, there is an element of it, because if I didn't judge, I couldn't help you, right?
Yes.
But there's no comparisonitis on my behalf. I don't go, oh yeah, what she's wearing, why is she dressed? None
Yes.
of that stuff. When you can actually just drop into being in that moment, not worrying about consequences, not worrying about if I say this, who I'm
Yeah.
going to hurt, then you are on a whole nother level and your brain can actually function better.
Yeah.
And when you have a coach who intuitively asks you questions, so I'm not thinking about what shall I ask her next.
Yes.
I'm actively listening to every word you're saying to me, and I just go in with a very subtle question, but it might be the biggest bombshell you have ever heard in your life.
Yes.
Until that point, because your brain was never in that phase of, I'm safe. I'm totally safe. I'm not on flight or fright. I'm not on high alert. I don't need to scan the room, who is safe, who I can talk to.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm here with myself. And maybe for the first time in your life, you've been like
Yes. And this is sometimes unknown for people.
100%.
And make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, so the best thing they can do for themselves.
Yeah.
Just sit down, talk to their own self through a mediator who is the coach.
Yes.
And really and truly, I went through on this, and yes, it's a life-changing experience. And I know what I want. I know that I chased for something which wasn't mine, and I was just feeding my negative thoughts as opposed to just focusing on what next and let it go, what doesn't work. So
I call it believing the illusion in your head.
yes, exactly.
And that's what coaching can help you with. Whilst you as a client might believe, I call it the bullshit.
Yes.
As long as you believe that bullshit, you're going to be a prisoner of that bullshit.
Yes.
But when you come into a
100%.
session, I don't believe the bullshit. That's the difference.
Yes.
All those negative stuff that you've been telling yourself your whole life, I don't believe it. You're
Yeah.
the only person that believes it because it was programmed into you. When you then come into this safe space and someone actually goes, really? Is that really true? Let's just have a little look at it. Let's
Yeah.
scratch the surface and see what comes up. And then they're like, oh, actually, I do like myself. Thank you very much. And I do deserve better things.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. It's actually humbling as a human being to be able to see someone in that space going from a place of, I don't want to be here no more. I don't even know what I'm doing in life, to, well, actually, I'm going to claim my space because there is a reason.
Yeah.
I might not know what it is yet, but I'm going to find out.
Yeah, I really like the thing when you say that also you need to be within your donut and
Yeah.
just set your boundaries and not let other people, comments come into your own space.
Yeah.
And also you don't stretch, this donut and take on others' problem, because you only can help yourself, really.
100%.
And once you decide it. And what I wanted to say, that you are a very direct coach as well. So this
Yes, I am.
this is a very great thing, that you are there to ask the question, what you said, that maybe no one heard before. And they got the aha moment that, oh yeah, there is someone who actually dare to ask this from me, and maybe this click, something.
I believe, Sophie, that in our lifetime, and I'm sure you appreciate and experience this yourself, we have so-called friends.
Yes.
We surround ourselves with people because one of our basic human needs is belonging.
Yeah.
We need to belong.
Definitely.
Whether we belong to a pack, a group, a club where we use a certain type of car, doesn't matter. But it starts at a very, very young age. Obviously, with your family, you feel like you want to belong there. If that doesn't happen, then you move on to kindergarten, then school, then friends, then whatever. Before you know it, you live your whole life with what I call it, also so-called friends who are also doing the same thing. So if we're all doing the same thing of trying to fit in, when do we actually become ourselves?
Yeah.
Because if I'm trying to fit into your donut and you're trying to fit into mine and I'm trying to fit into theirs, sorry,
It's chaotic. Yeah.
I just say it in a very simple phrase. If you're minding other people's businesses, who's minding yours?
Yes.
If you're worrying about what others do, like, who's worrying about you? And I think with this donut theory, if you stay inside your donut and you learn, and this is through a coaching that most of my clients will actually understand very quickly. Control the controllables and surrender to that you can't control.
Yeah.
And just let it go. And surrender doesn't necessarily mean giving up. It means accepting what I can't change.
Yes.
Because if I can accept it, I can let it go. 9 out of 10 times, I'm sure your clients as well, when they come to see you and they say, I'm really angry right now, or I'm very disappointed, or you may have been there yourself.
The problem? Yeah.
I always say this to my clients. Disappointment comes from the current reality and minus your expectations.
Yes, exactly.
The difference between the two can be heartbreaking. But what if you actually can take accountability that perhaps you were expecting too much?
Yeah.
What if you can surrender to the reality of there is no right and wrong, just is?
Yeah.
What if we can accept that?
Yeah.
And I think that's when people come to peace and make peace with a lot of their inner demons, as people refer to it. I call them mini-me's, as you know.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, the direct approach, I think, is really important in my coaching style, because you have so many so-called friends. I'm not trying to be one.
Yeah.
I am actually on your side more than anyone ever been on your side. And this is why if I see something, I'm going to call it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because
this is what you can do the most for your clients, because this is where they go. It's a trusted, non-judgmental environment. And so many times I ask my clients, is this really the truth? Or is it what you think is the truth? Because it's two different things. And if there is a situation what you think it's something negative, you should just stop for a minute and think about the other. Maybe that one had a bad day and it's not because of you, it's because of them.
But it's what you made it mean about you.
Yes.
So I often ask my clients, what do you think the world is? Because the world is not what you think the world is not how it seems. The world is how we see it. But how we see our external world comes from our internal world.
Yes.
So you and I could be looking at the same picture and have two different meanings to us. So when people judge themselves and they go, oh my God, I messed it up. Have you really?
Yeah.
How? Explain to me, how have you messed it up? Tell me more about it. And when they start dissecting, oh, okay, well, maybe they mean that they should have done a better outcome or a different outcome. That's a different matter.
Yeah.
But when you make a statement, I messed it up, you declare to the world that you failed. But what does failure mean? Because what it means to you might not mean to you.
Yes, exactly. You need to know the meaning of the words as well. But we talked about a lot belongings, inside work and how we see the world. It comes from within. And as coaches, we put a lot of effort and emphasis on values.
Yeah.
That everything comes from your values. And I would like to just ask you about yours, if you share with us, because this is we all gone through, and we know our values. If you need to tell me one or two, what would you say the core value is yours at the moment? Because these are changing, obviously.
It definitely can change, but one of my values that haven't changed for a long time, and I doubt it will change at all because it's just who I am. Values, by the way, is the why behind your what.
Mm-hmm,
so you know what you're doing, but why are you doing it?
Yes.
Because these things are important to you. And again, it links back to childhood, right?
Yes.
Another story on another podcast. But for me personally, my biggest core value is what I call my core value that hasn't changed, is integrity.
Yes.
Integrity literally springs through my businesses, my client work, my personal work, my family life, my love life, my friendship, how I treat myself, how I want to be treated. This comes across through my communication. Communication is also very important. I could call it a value to me, because when there is communication, there is no confusion. And there is no confusion, you can only be integral, right?
Yeah.
Integrity to me is paramount, especially I think in this world, when I know full well, we could fool anyone, but you and I both know with the line of work we do, especially the depth that I take my clients to, I could easily take advantage of people if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So having integrity as my core value keeps me in check too, to make sure, as a coach, you don't need to have qualifications. Any, Jack and Jill can call themselves like coaches. But for me, because the integrity was a big part, I actually went and done an education in it. I obtained a qualification. I also went and had accreditation from a body,
Yes.
which holds me to a standard.
Yes.
Which
exactly.
is also, you see how it's aligned with my integrity piece?
Yes, exactly.
Whereas, you know, versus some people think, oh, is it coming from that you don't feel good enough? Actually not. Because I knew I was good enough. That's why I wanted to do the work. But for me to feel at ease at night, sleeping well, knowing that everything I'm doing is in line with my integrity, I needed the paperwork.
Yes.
Not to prove that I'm a coach, because now it's written on an A4 sheet of paper, but for me to know that I've done certain amount of hours supervised, that I've been through guidance, that I have had the training to take people to the depths I can take people, to bring them back safely, to actually make them feel better, not worse. Because how many horror stories have we heard?
Yes.
You know, even through therapy, sadly, that, you know, you go in and you come out feeling worse than when you went in. That is not how I want my clients to feel.
Very, very, very good. And I really appreciate that you went over and beyond. And as you said, so many people call themselves coach without any certification. I went through on this. I invested in this similarly to you. And this was the reason, if I would like to do something, and actually we work with a very sensitive area of everyone's life. We really need to be confident, actually, that we do something good and the way we should do that. So I agree with you 100%. But we talked about a lot, you know, your style, you know, why you are passionate about coaching. And I'm 100% sure that people now are so interested in how they can reach you if they would like to know more about what you do and probably how you can help them.
Yeah, so obviously through my website, I've got a couple of lead magnets as such, like, you know, shadow work is a big thing for me.
Yes, I know that.
And so I created a quiz. So if you wanted to find out which of your 8 main shadows, which one of those or 2 of those are actually in the driving seat, and you might want to work on that, then you can head over to my website, which is, I'm sure we can put it also in the link.
Yes, of course.
But it's www.nicolettevague.com. But Sophie will put that.
Yes,
put
definitely.
The link there. So you can literally start connecting me through there. You can also, from there, you can follow me on my social media, which again is my name.
Yes.
Everything is on there. So if you head to my website, I think it's probably the best place, a one-stop shop.
Perfect. Definitely, I will share with it under this post as well, and the podcast too, on Spotify and SoundCloud as well. And we need to wrap it up quite soon, but I have the very last question, which is my core to understand, you know, other coaches. In your opinion, what is the key benefit of going through the coaching experience?
Well, apart from everything that we shared, how life-changing this is, I feel you cannot humanly possibly decide something isn't working for you until you've tried. So that's one of the logical reasons why I would say just go for it. What can you lose? That's my mantra. What can you lose? Because you've tried everything else. And I always say this, if you're looking for a different outcome, you can't keep going down the same route, because that is the definition of insanity. So you have to take a different approach. And if you're not sure what coaching is like, go on to those discovery calls with the coaches, find out who they are, what they're about, have a feel, because you have to find someone that you feel connected to. But what can you lose? What's the worst that can happen if you give it a go? Because you've tried everything else, and this is nothing like anything else. If you find the right person, this could actually be that one puzzle piece that was missing to unlock the next level of your life. And then you never look back, because once your brain goes there, you're never going to go back to how you were before.
Instead, the last missing piece of puzzle to your life.
That's it.
It's very nice at the end. Well, thank you so much, Nikki. I'm so pleased that I could done this with you as a first coach to coach
I'm excited.
podcast.
Thank you for being here.
And hopefully so many people understands the bread and butter of coaching. And if they have any questions, obviously, they can come to you, come to me, and really and truly, we are here for everyone. And yes, have a wonderful day, and I will come back pretty soon with another great coach in this industry.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.